Have you ever trusted someone so completely that the thought of their betrayal seemed impossible? Have you ever walked into a room and felt your entire world collapse in a single moment? Welcome to Vicky Tale. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Today's story is about Ashley, a billionaire woman who had everything: a mansion, a loving husband, and a bright future. But one unexpected decision to come home early changed everything forever. Ashley did not plan to come home that day. Her trip was meant to last 3 more days, but something inside her told her to return early. She did not call ahead. She did not inform her husband. She wanted to surprise him. As her car rolled into the wide compound of the mansion, she noticed how quiet everything was. Too quiet. The house staff usually moved around, laughing softly or greeting her with smiles. Today there was silence. Ashley stepped out of the car, adjusted her coat, and looked at the massive building she called home. It looked the same as always, beautiful, clean, perfect. But something felt wrong. She walked inside the living room and then the bedroom, her heels clicking against the shiny floor.
Sammy? Sammy, where are you? Sammy?
Nothing. She tried again, louder this time.
Sammy? Sammy, where are you? Sammy?
Still nothing. Ashley's brows pulled together in confusion. She walked toward the large window and pulled the curtain aside. Outside, his cars were parked neatly, just as he always liked them. Every single one was there. Her heart skipped. If his cars were here, then where was he? The thought made her chest tighten. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the cars, and hoping one of them would suddenly drive away and end her fear. But nothing moved. Ashley turned away from the window and walked deeper into the mansion. Her steps were slower now, careful. She spotted one of the maids arranging flowers near the hallway. "Did my husband go out?" Ashley asked, trying to sound normal. The maid looked up suddenly, clearly startled. Her hands shook slightly as she placed the flowers down. She did not answer immediately. She just shook her head. "No, ma'am," she said quietly. Ashley watched her closely. The maid's eyes refused to meet hers. "Are you sure?" Ashley asked again. The maid nodded too quickly this time. "Yes, ma'am," she said, then bowed slightly and rushed away. Ashley stood still. Her heart began to beat faster. Something was wrong, very wrong. She reached into her bag and dialed Sammy's number. And as she lifted the phone to her ear, she heard a sound. A ringtone. Not from outside, it was coming from their bedroom. Ashley's breath caught in her throat. She followed the sound like it was pulling her. She pushed the bedroom door open again and saw Sammy's phone lying on the bed, vibrating. Her hands began to tremble. She checked the bathroom, empty. She checked the closet, empty. Fear washed over her like cold water. Her legs felt weak. What if something terrible had happened? What if he had collapsed somewhere? She rushed back into the hallway, panic rising in her chest. Ashley held onto the staircase rail as she climbed upstairs, each step heavier than the last. Her body was shaking now. Her mind was full of dark thoughts. The house suddenly felt unfamiliar, like it was hiding secrets from her. She opened the first door she saw. Empty. She opened another. Also empty. Her breathing was fast and uneven. She decided she could not handle this alone and turned to go downstairs to alert the security. That was when she heard it. Voices. Her heart almost stopped. She froze. She listened carefully. One voice was low and calm. The other sounded nervous. Her stomach twisted when she recognized the calm voice. It was Sammy. Her legs felt numb, but she forced herself to move. Slowly, quietly, she followed the sound down the long hallway. Each step felt like it took all her strength. The voices became clearer. She stopped in front of a closed door. Her hand hovered over the handle, shaking badly. For a moment, she hoped she was wrong. She hoped she would open the door and see something harmless. But something deep inside her already knew the truth. With one sharp movement, she pushed the door open. The sight before her made her freeze completely. Sammy was sitting on a chair, his back stiff. In front of him was Amanda, one of the maids. She was kneeling on the floor, her hands clasped tightly together, her head lowered. The room felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing down on Ashley's chest. Time seemed to stop. Ashley took a slow step inside. The door creaked softly behind her. Sammy stood up in shock, clearly not expecting her. His eyes widened as he quickly stood and adjusted his trousers in a hurry. "Ashley," he began, stepping toward her. Ashley raised her hand slightly, stopping him. Her face was calm, too calm. Her eyes moved slowly from Amanda to Sammy, then back to Amanda. "Is this what I think it is?" she asked quietly. Her voice did not shake, but her heart was breaking inside her. Sammy rushed to her and grabbed her shoulders. "No," he said quickly, "this is not what you think. We were just—" He stopped when Ashley laughed softly. It was not a happy laugh, it was sharp and painful. "You were just having a good time," she said, folding her arms across her chest. Her lips curved into a bitter smile. Sammy's face hardened immediately. His calm disappeared, replaced by anger. "What do you mean by that?" he shouted. "You should never say such a thing again." His voice echoed loudly in the room. Ashley stared at him, her eyes filled with disappointment. "So now I am the one imagining things?" she asked softly. The argument grew quickly. Words flew back and forth, accusations, denials, painful truths mixed with lies. Ashley felt tears burn her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She would not cry in front of them. She turned toward the door. As she reached it, she stopped and slowly turned back. Her eyes landed on Amanda, who was still kneeling, shaking badly. Ashley's face turned cold. "You will regret this," she said slowly. Her voice was calm, but it carried a deep warning. "Mom, please," Amanda cried, trying to stand up. "Please, I beg you." Ashley shut the door hard, cutting her off. The sound echoed through the hallway like a gunshot. Ashley walked away, her steps heavy, her chest tight with pain and anger. Inside the room, Amanda turned to Sammy, fear written all over her face. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. "Sir, what do we do?" she asked in a small, broken voice. Sammy did not answer immediately. He straightened his shirt and avoided her eyes. "Calm down," he said coldly. "Nothing will happen." He walked out of the room without looking back. Amanda was left alone, her heart pounding loudly in her ears. Downstairs, Ashley stood by the railing, gripping it tightly as if it was the only thing keeping her upright. Her chest hurt. Her thoughts were loud and painful. Her marriage, her trust, her home. Everything suddenly felt like a lie. She did not cry. Not yet. Sammy rushed after Ashley as she walked away, his heart pounding. He grabbed her hand suddenly, almost missing his balance as he did so. His knees bent slightly, like he was about to fall. "Ashley, please," he said in a shaking voice. "It's not what you think. I swear to you." Ashley stopped for a second, looked down at his hand on hers, then slowly pulled her hand away. She did not shout. She did not insult him. She simply looked tired. Without saying a word, she turned and walked into their bedroom. Sammy followed her quickly, still talking, still explaining. "Nothing happened," he said again and again. "You are misunderstanding everything." Ashley walked straight to the center of the room and turned to face him. "If nothing happened," she said calmly, "then let us check the CCTV camera in Amanda's room." The moment those words left her mouth, Sammy froze. His face changed instantly. The confidence in his eyes disappeared. His mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. Ashley noticed it immediately. "So?" she asked. "Let's go. I need to see it with my own eyes." Sammy swallowed hard. Sammy rubbed his face slowly, walking away from her for a moment. "Ashley, listen to me," he said, his voice lower now. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier." Ashley crossed her arms and waited. "I had the camera removed," Sammy continued. "I didn't like the idea of cameras inside their rooms. It didn't feel right." Ashley shook her head slowly. There was no anger on her face anymore, only disappointment. Deep disappointment. "You removed it," she repeated softly, "and you didn't think it was important to tell your wife." Sammy tried to speak again, but Ashley had already turned away. She walked to the large wardrobe and opened it. She began to pull out her clothes, one after the other, throwing them onto the bed. Sammy rushed toward her. "Please don't do this," he begged. "Let's talk. Let me explain everything properly." Ashley did not answer him. She packed quietly, folding some clothes, stuffing others into her bag without care. Sammy's voice grew louder. "Ashley, please, you're overreacting." Still, she said nothing. Her silence hurt more than shouting would have. Ashley zipped her bag and lifted it from the bed. She walked past Sammy like he was not even there. He stood in the middle of the room, helpless, watching her leave. She went downstairs, opened the front door, and stepped outside into the warm air. Sammy followed her to the large window and stood there, watching as she placed her bag into her car. For a moment, he thought she would turn back. For a moment, he hoped she would. But she didn't. Ashley got into the car, started the engine, and drove out of the compound without looking back. The gates closed slowly behind her. Inside the mansion, Amanda rushed toward Sammy, tears already in her eyes. "Sir," she said, her voice shaking. She left. Sammy turned away from the window. His face was hard now, cold. "Let her leave," he said flatly. "I don't need her in my life anymore." He walked away, leaving Amanda standing there, confused and scared. He went upstairs to the bedroom, shutting the door behind him. Amanda remained where she was, her heart racing, knowing something terrible was unfolding. Inside the bedroom, Sammy removed his clothes slowly and wrapped a towel around his waist. He stood in front of the mirror, staring at his reflection. For a few seconds, he looked serious. Then slowly, a smile appeared on his face, a small one at first, then wider. He shook his head lightly, as if amused by everything that had just happened. At the same time, Ashley was driving through the city, tears streaming down her face. She could barely see the road clearly, and her hands trembled on the steering wheel. Everything felt unreal. Her marriage, her home, the man she loved. She drove without knowing exactly where she was going until she suddenly stopped in front of a bar. She parked the car and walked inside, her eyes red, her heart heavy. She chose a corner seat and sat alone. "Bring me beer," she said quietly to the waiter. "Bottles." The bottles came quickly. Ashley opened one and drank deeply, then another. She did not care who was watching. Tears fell freely now. She drank faster, like she was trying to drown the pain inside her. One of the workers at the bar noticed her. He watched how she rushed her drinks, how she wiped her tears angrily with the back of her hand. He hesitated for a moment, then walked up to her. "Ma," he said gently, "are you okay?" Ashley paused. She looked up at him slowly, her eyes filled with anger and pain. "Get lost," she said sharply. The man stepped back immediately, raising his hands in apology and walking away. Ashley picked up another bottle and drank again, her shoulders shaking as she cried. Back at the mansion, there was a knock on the bedroom door. Sammy looked toward it through the mirror. "Come in," he said calmly. The door opened slowly and Amanda walked in. She looked nervous, her hands clasped together tightly. "Sir," she said softly, "you called me." Sammy turned to face her fully now, his towel still wrapped around him. "Yes," he said, smiling slightly. "Come closer." Amanda hesitated, her heart beat loudly in her chest. Slowly, she walked toward him. Sammy stepped aside and pointed toward the mirror. "I want to show you something," he said, his voice smooth. Amanda stopped a few steps away from him, unsure. "Sir?" she asked quietly. Sammy smiled again, wider this time. "Look," he said, gesturing at his reflection. Amanda glanced at the mirror, then back at him. The room felt heavy. Outside, the mansion was quiet again, like nothing had happened. In the bar, Ashley lifted another bottle to her lips, her tears falling into it as she drank. 2 lives, 2 choices, 2 secrets moving towards something dangerous, and neither of them knew how bad things were about to become. The following day came with heavy tension hanging over the mansion. The house was quiet, but the silence felt angry. Sammy was in the sitting room when the sound of a car stopping suddenly at the gate echoed through the compound. Before anyone could announce the visitor, the door opened hard. Ashley's mother walked in with fire in her eyes. Her face was tight and her hands were shaking. She did not greet anyone. She walked straight towards Sammy, raised her hand and slapped him hard across the face. The sound filled the room. "You are a betrayal," she shouted, "a shameless man." Sammy staggered back in shock, holding his cheek. He looked confused and embarrassed. "Mom, what is this?" he asked, trying to understand what was happening. "You destroyed my daughter's life," Ashley's mother continued angrily. "You broke her heart in her own house." Sammy stood there, stunned. He did not expect this attack. Without saying much more, he quickly asked one of the house helps to call everyone for a family meeting immediately. His voice was firm. He wanted the matter settled once and for all. Not long after, and everyone gathered in the large living room. Family members, close relatives, and senior domestic workers were all present. Ashley sat quietly beside her mother. Her eyes looked tired and swollen, like someone who had cried all night. Sammy stood at the center of the room, trying to look calm, though his heart was racing. "We are here to clear everything today," he said loudly. Then he turned toward Amanda. "Amanda," he said, "tell everyone what we were discussing that day." The room became silent. All eyes turned to Amanda. She stood slowly, her hands shaking. She looked around the room, unable to raise her head properly. Fear and shame covered her face. She swallowed hard before speaking. "That morning," she began softly, "I did not come out of my room until afternoon." People murmured quietly. Boss Sammy asked the other workers where I was," she continued. "They told him I refused to come out." She paused, her voice breaking. He came into my room to ask what was wrong. Amanda took a deep breath and continued. Because of the respect I have for him as my boss, she said, I went on my knees to talk to him. Gasps filled the room. Ashley's heart pounded loudly as she listened. I told him I was pregnant, Amanda said. The room exploded with shock. People gasped loudly, some stood up from their seats. Ashley froze completely. For my boyfriend, Amanda added quickly. More murmurs followed. I was thinking of resigning, she said, wiping her tears. I felt ashamed and confused. I told my boss everything because I trusted him. She looked briefly at Sammy before looking down again. But he told me not to leave, she continued. He said I should stay and rest. That was what Madam walked in on. Ashley felt dizzy. Her mind went back to that day. The kneeling, the fear, the adjusting of trousers. Was she wrong? Had her eyes lied to her? She looked at Sammy, confused and broken. Sammy cleared his throat and stepped forward. You see, he said loudly, this is exactly what happened. He turned toward Ashley and her mother. I cannot stay married to someone who does not trust me, he said coldly. Ashley's heart sank. You never trusted me, he continued. You were always busy chasing money and work. Ashley's mother stood up angrily, but Sammy raised his hand. Despite being a billionaire, he went on, I told you to relax, to stay home, to give me a child, but you refused. The words hit Ashley like stones. Tears filled her eyes. Oh, I wanted my own success, she whispered. That does not mean I did not love you. But Sammy shook his head. Love without trust is nothing, he said firmly. The room felt cold. Ashley realized something deep inside her had broken forever. Ashley stood up slowly. Her mother held her hand tightly. No one spoke as they walked out of the mansion together. The door closed behind them with a final sound. Outside, Ashley broke down completely. Her marriage was gone. Her home was gone. 2 months later, the news spread everywhere. Sammy married Amanda quietly. The wedding was simple but expensive. Amanda moved into the mansion as the new wife. When her baby was born, Sammy officially adopted the child. He presented himself to the world as a happy man, a family man. People praised him. Some blamed Ashley, others remained silent. And Ashley watched everything from afar. She moved to a smaller house and started her life again from nothing. The pain was heavy, but slowly she found strength she never knew she had. Years later, Ashley stood in front of a mirror in her new office, confident and calm. She had built her own success without anyone's help. She no longer cried over the past. She had learned that sometimes truth does not win immediately, but time always reveals everything. Somewhere else, in the same city, Sammy stared at his reflection too, older and restless. Amanda sat quietly in the background. The child played innocently on the floor. Life had moved on, but not everyone had peace. Some choices bring comfort, others bring quiet regret. And in the end, everyone lives with the truth they chose to hide. Or from the heights of luxury to the depths of heartbreak, and finally to the strength of self-discovery. Sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. But remember, every ending is also a new beginning. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story from VickyTale. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Leave a comment below. Have you ever experienced betrayal? How did you rebuild your life? Your story might inspire someone else. Until next time, this is VickyTale, reminding you that no matter how dark the night, the dawn always comes. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and never forget your worth.